One of the ways that we acquire new props is we buy inventory off of other shows. And so we were recently at an auction and we acquired all these different flags, which are really quite wonderful. And you know, Prop House is one of the best recycling companies out there because something that'll be a hero prop on one show will then come and be a secondary prop on another show. Well, these are fantastic. These actually came off of Cold Mountain, which was filmed over in Europe. Okay. And we just recently purchased these. And I think some of these might end up on some projects that we're Civil War projects that we're doing right now, because the Civil War is very hot right now.
That's interesting. When you get them, do you often have to modify them to make them look different than what someone might have seen before?
You absolutely do. I mean, it's kind of a... I think a lot of times people think that you can just grab anything and make it into a prop to use on camera, but there's so much that you have to do with it to make it safe. You have to make sure that it's fire retardant. You have to make sure that it's asbestos free. I deal in a lot of period stuff, so we will virtually go in there and completely rebuild something to make it safe. We spend a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of research just to make sure that it's all safe for people to work with.
Huh. How have you acquired a lot of these instruments? It's such a wide variety and array.
We do a lot of well, we do a lot of purchasing of them. We're always looking for something real special. We buy them all over the world, and this is a good example of a prop that comes that's never ready to just go out. You always have to put a lot of work into it. Your guitars, you always have to be taking care of the fingerboards. You always have to be changing the strings. There are times when we do take props out of stock because we feel they're a very important part of history and they should be archived. We do a lot of donations to the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles, which has one of the largest collections of Hollywood memorabilia in the world. And some of the things we've given them are a shield that was used in The Sheik with Rudolph Valentino. We had an original shield because we've acquired a lot of our props from the old studios. When we did Chaplin back in 1990, we had the opportunity to rent Mary Pickford's original makeup case. And we thought, you can't do that. You know, too many things can happen on set. So we feel it's something that's a very important piece and should be preserved for,
historical reasons.
Historically preserved. We will reproduce it.
I know that you mentioned that you get props sometimes from shows that are finished their season or finished their run. You get some donations. You purchase props. Is it a combination of everything pretty equally for you? Do you have help? Do people ever contact you saying, I have this?
I'll have everything from people that'll email me something that'll go, wow, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I think we could use it. To people who will just walk in and say, my mother died and I can't bear to throw this in a landfill. Here you go, and walk out, and I'll never even know who they are. But I'm going to show you an example of like some of the offbeat ways that we get things, and that's going to be in just the next aisle over here. We were doing Master and Commander. Oh, here we go. And in it, they needed to have, and Master and Commander was filming down in Ensenada, and they needed to have a certain kind of gimbled teapot that would be that's very British. Well, I couldn't go to a thrift store and get this. So I call my friend Stephanie McMillan, who's decorating Harry Potter, and saying, gosh, could you send one of your assistants down to Portobello Road and pick me up 3 choices of these teapots? And so she does that, and then she ships them out to me, and then we give them choices, and then we gimbal one up for her. Huh. So not only are we looking at thrift shops here, but all over the world. Wow. We always send people out.